That closing theme music from Harry's Game by Clannad is available on record.
Sunday night on Channel 4 and searching for the samurai, Jeremy Beadle.
Number one, what's the worst thing that's happened to you in training?
Falling off a horse and losing face.
And what's the biggest thing you carry?
The biggest thing I carry is the sword.
At 8:45, Wood and Walters.
Can I help you? I just wondered if you had these in a 14.
What? This is a boutique, not the elephant's house.
With Victoria and Julie is Rick Mail.
OK, guys. I'm a feminist. For me, there's no sex war. When I'm with a chick, we don't have time to fight. I mean...
At 9:15, Julia and Charles are dining with Bridie.
Come on, Bridie, don't be so mysterious. Out with it. I'm engaged to be married. I hope you're pleased.
Bridie, how very exciting. Who to?
No one you know.
Is she pretty?
I don't think you would exactly call her pretty. Comely is the word I think of in her connection. She's a big woman.
And at 10:20, the final day's play live for the US Open Golf Championship, all on a Channel 4 Sunday night.
Tonight's company, Adrian Plass, Anne Warren and Bishop George Reindorp.
Yes, sometimes it happens after the meeting is over.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Well, you know, you were talking about healing last night, and I was very interested in that because I know you work with disturbed children. And what I wanted to ask you was, how does that apply to the job you do? I mean, do you feel people there can be helped and healed?
Well, I feel a little bit of guilt in that area, if I'm honest. I don't think I've ever quite sorted out how the two things meet.
I know what he means.
I suppose a bit like perhaps Christian nurses or doctors might think, well, should I just go along the beds and lay hands on them, or maybe they'd all get up and go home.
Yes.
And it's rarely happened that I've had to face to sort out the dilemma, but it did happen the other day, fairly dramatically. I had a phone call from the foster parents of a girl who we fostered recently, and it was midnight, and we zoomed off in the car, sort of ready-dare social work types, down to this cottage, which is in the middle of the country.
The girl was at home?
Yes.
Not with you? Yes,
No, she's been fostered. Yes. And she was in a terrible state, no doubt about it, and the atmosphere in the house was very bad, a lot of conflict, animosity, unhappiness. And I was very tempted to use social work because that's what I do.
Yes, naturally.
But I felt that this isn't the time for it or the place for it. It isn't going to work. So I said to them, well, look, I'm a Christian as well as a social worker. Do you believe in miracles? And he said, well, I've been a sailor.
That's a good answer, isn't it?
I think, having been out at sea, he believed in God, you know, he had and she said, yes, I do. So I called the girl over and put my hands on her head and prayed for her. And when I finished praying, everybody was in tears. The girl jumped up and put her arms around her foster father, and
that's lovely.
Everything was okay, and that will probably last a few days, and you know it is a profound problem and an ongoing one, and you know, there's no doubt that the possibility of breakdown still exists. But the point for me is that in that situation at that time, you could either use social work techniques, which may or may not have worked, or you could, as happened, actually use the Spirit of God to go bong into the middle of a bad situation and resurrect love and life into it. I felt awful. I had to force those words out of me because I felt a real twit, really. I felt it was a twittish thing to do.
And yet God
which
really
is shameful, you know, but having made the effort, I was so pleased to be able to sit back and look not at what I'd done through what I've learned over 10 years or whatever, but at what God does when I give up.
But how do you analyse? You say you feel twitchish. I mean, is that because we're so wedded to science, that's the great power in the land. That's going to do things that we don't expect God to work these days. Because in history, we have expected God to work. And the church, as we were saying the other night, has had the laying on of hands. I mean, I know one particular priest, and I've certainly had experience myself. When you're hearing somebody's confession, sometimes you're moved to lay hands upon them in the name of God, for them to feel really released.
I think,
from
George,
sin.
as a minister, one is in the appropriate role for saying and doing those things.
I see what you mean. Yes.
I think
I know exactly what you mean.
As a lay person,
Yes.
it feels inappropriate.
Yes.
Yes, and you go, somebody comes
that.
to me for counselling, I will do exactly what you do, go through the motions of what I've learned.
Yes.
And then suddenly, but often only in a very difficult case when I'm up against it, I suddenly think, my goodness, God could do something here. But again, there's that sort of barrier to go through, isn't there?
And that's why the coming back of healing, there's a real resurgence of it.
Yeah.
And one bishop has even been released to head up the whole ministry of healing throughout the Church of England, which is
Very encouraging.
That's lovely,
very much
yes,
so,
that's so
which
funny,
a resurgence of the whole realm of spiritual healing.
Yes.
And that seems to me a wholly good thing.
That's really important, isn't it?
Well, there's the song that says I've looked at the clouds from both sides now. And indeed, with this cloud picture, here's the weather forecast. It'll be dry with well-broken cloud, although eastern parts of the region may be overcast at first tomorrow. The moderate northeasterly winds will give way to onshore breezes across the south coast by mid-morning. Tonight's temperature, 9 degrees centigrade, and tomorrow's 21 degrees. That's the weather forecast. And whatever the weather, and whatever you're doing tomorrow, if you're at home or here on holiday, have a good day. And before then, a peaceful night. With the time fast approaching 23 minutes past 12, from all of us at TVS, good night. Knock, knock. Who's there? Colin. Colin who? Colin all viewers who've not switched off the set to do so now.